responses, we need to make sure our questions are text-dependent and prompting them to do so. Text-dependent questions ask students to consult the text to decipher the deeper meaning of an author's words. For example, let's say your students are reading a passage from Frederick Douglass's narrative of a slave. Consider the difference between questions like this: have you ever experienced prejudice? And this: where does Frederick Douglass's tone change in the second paragraph? Notice that the first question doesn't actually require students to draw from the text to support their answers, but instead from their own personal experience. However, the second question directs students to consult the text for evidence. Now you might be wondering, can we ever use questions like the first one in a discussion? Sure, but try building to the more open-ended questions. Once students truly understand an author's words, no doubt their more personal responses will be even richer. Better yet, have students pull out a provocative quote from the text and then pen their personal responses to it. Additionally, text-dependent questions probe at the writing or rhetorical strategies of the author and how these strategies ultimately serve the author's purpose. Text-dependent questions grapple with the author's language and structural choices. Here are some stems to help spur text-dependent questions in your classroom. Where does the author provide evidence of? Provide a spot in the text where the author contrasts. An example of a cause and effect relationship in the piece is: the author addresses the opposing view when she says, the diction changes in blank section, which underscores. A shift of tone occurs in the text when. Toward the end of the piece, the author underscores. How does the use of the word blank contribute to? The opening of the piece helps the reader see. The sentence blank draws our attention to the author's view of. If you're interested in learning more, check out CoreStand's